will be tricky against the Bucks, who had the second most takeaways since the start of October. Is anyone guaranteeing a bounce-back game for the Bills? I switched it.
Wait, that's not the question.
I switched it.
Guaranteed.
No, you just
No, I'm not. I might go the other way on turnovers.
What?
And here's what I mean.
Pro turnover.
I'm not pro turnovers, but I do think. So there's an interesting Bills stat right now that I just read, because I follow a bunch of Bills accounts on Twitter, or the algorithm sends them to me because they talk so mean to me, so they think I want to see it. The Bills have the third best in the league distance to go on third down. Third, you know what I mean? So the third and shortest, if you will. And I actually don't know if that's something you want to be that high in the league in, if that's your quarterback. Because to me, that says it's a lot of let's set up third and manageable, as opposed to the thing Peyton Manning loves talking about, which is first down, second down, first down. You know what I mean? Like, let's move the ball down the field, hit explosives. So he's like, forget third and short. Let's stay out of third down. I think third and manageable is super important if you have a young quarterback, if you have a limited quarterback. Obviously, it's helpful no matter who your quarterback is. But I think the Bills have overcorrected to the total lack of explosiveness in their offense, which they don't have a single player on their team that has 500 yards receiving. So the other teams on that list are teams that have either quarterback problems or injuries to their top wide receivers. Or injuries to, that's what
Kincaid got? Well, he missed some
games,
right?
Kincaid shy of it. But he has the most, by the way. Brian Thomas Jr. got hurt. Debo and McLaurin's dealt with injuries. The Packers, Tucker Kraft got hurt.
Yep.
And the other teams are just... The Bills, even if they don't have a ton, like a super explosive number one receiver, they should have a more explosive offense.
That should have been Keon.
Well, yeah, it was supposed to be, but he hasn't developed into that.
Yeah.
But I just, Coach, feel like they have the handcuffs a little too tight on, in my opinion, the second best, in everyone's opinion, a top three quarterback in the league.
Yeah, I've never heard anybody argue against being really good at third and manageable.
Well,
that's a first for me. But I understand what you're saying. And for the Bills, I don't know if this is a bounce back game because I don't know how really good they are. And I get that they beat the 5-4 Kansas City Chiefs, which is the ultimate accomplishment
it's their
that
Super
you can
Bowl.
have. It is in midseason, but they really haven't beaten anybody else of note. They don't have kind of that other signature win, and then you follow that up with the huge letdown in Miami. So there's still a question of how good are they, and the injury situation is problematic. And I do agree with you, Nick. I think this is going to go the other way. I imagine that he's going to turn more into the Superman that we've seen in the past, and that's going to come with bigger plays, but it's going to come with more turnovers.
Yeah.
And last year, that formula worked really well for him. It's not working well for him now, and the only guy that has a chance to save the day is him. And that's unfortunately going to come with some higher risk and some more turnovers.
Guarantee, expect a bounce back. It better be a bounce back. It better be a bounce back.
Because?
Or I think you're right. Like, if they don't bounce back and beat Tampa Bay, it really is in the question of how good is this team? Like, now, again, if you take out away the Chiefs, who we're just going on their history, I mean, you still can argue the Bills are as good as anybody else in the AFC, and maybe even the Chiefs since they beat them. But, I mean, they've lost, 3 of their last 5. They just had their worst game of the season. Josh didn't have, he hasn't been spectacular this year. All of these factors.
They have more double-digit losses in the last month than they had in the previous 4 years.
Yeah, so all of these factors, and you don't come out and play. Like, you're playing a good team, too, so you're not taking them lightly. Well, they're good.
You haven't said the word yet. Finally. The whole time I was waiting for that cuz there.
You can't beat up on this cute little team in Tampa Bay. No, but, like, if they don't play well, then it's like, is that game in them?
Yeah, it's interesting because both of these teams are dealing with their own significant injury lists right now. We've been talking a lot about injuries lately, what they mean and how much a team can be expected to overcome them in any given moment. My general perspective is that when two great teams face off, if one is relatively healthy and the other is missing a few key pieces, that alone can be enough to create a huge impact. However, since both teams are banged up, I think this game becomes more of a toss-up. The key difference is that the Buccaneers coaching has proven to be better at the next man up philosophy when dealing with injuries, and that's a significant advantage. The Bills have struggled with that on both offense and defense. When we talk about the Bills' issues, like their 500-yard receivers, it's not just about the lack of big explosive plays. The core problem is that no one is getting open. Josh Allen is looking to push the ball downfield, but his receivers aren't creating separation. And when they do catch the ball, the yards after catch are nearly non-existent. I've discussed this before. I've made videos and shown the numbers and stats. While my most recent data is from a couple of games ago, the trend was clear. When you look at contested target percentage in YAC and compare it to what Patrick Mahomes was achieving with lesser-known receivers, Josh Allen was throwing into more tight coverage and getting less help after the catch. This is a fundamental problem. It's not about Josh Allen needing to take more chances or manage third downs differently. The issue is deeper. The Bills desperately need a bounce-back performance. If they don't get it, this is one of those games where, if the situation were slightly different, you could see people getting fired after a loss. If the Bills lose this game, the only reason that wouldn't happen is because they have Josh Allen. They were in the AFC Championship game last year, and technically, the playoffs would still be within reach. But if this were a different scenario, a loss here could be a lost-the-locker-room moment that ends a coaching tenure. That's how much this game matters from my viewpoint. For the most part, when the Bills understand the stakes, who their opponent is, what they're facing, and what they need from themselves, they rise to the occasion 99 times out of 100. The Baltimore Ravens game is an exception. That one got out of control quickly. But their problem has been the random games against opponents they perhaps underestimate, like the Patriots, Dolphins, Falcons, or the Texans last year. That's just been their pattern. I believe everyone on the Bills understands the situation now. This Buccaneers team isn't an elite top 2 team, but they're certainly not the Carolina Panthers. I think there will be a clear intention and understanding from the Bills that this game is absolutely crucial. They will treat this with the same seriousness as a game against the Kansas City Chiefs. If they lose this, they can pretty much kiss the division goodbye. The Patriots already have a legitimate step on them, and the Bills need other teams to falter. They aren't in control of their own destiny. Even just for playoff seeding and securing a wild-card spot, this game is vital. They're facing a tough quarterback and a gritty, tough defense. What's interesting is that the Bills' defense was able to unleash on Patrick Mahomes, generating a strong pass rush. They should be able to do the same to Baker Mayfield, swallow him up and make life miserable for him. So this game is very twofold. I'm looking for the Bills' defense to slow down Baker Mayfield, to make him look as uncomfortable as he did against the Detroit Lions or the Philadelphia Eagles. He had a couple of big plays against the Eagles, but that was mostly due to defensive breakdowns leaving receivers wide open. For most of that game, especially the first half, his life was miserable. You're the Buffalo Bills with Sean McDermott. You made life hard for Patrick Mahomes. You need to do the same to Baker. On the other side, we saw this Buccaneers defense make things very difficult for Drake May and the Patriots offense. The Patriots' run game struggled significantly for most of that contest, with a few breakout runs inflating the final numbers. A lot was on Drake May's shoulders, and the Buccaneers generated a lot of pressure. So if the Buffalo Bills offense can't find a way through this tough, gritty Buccaneers defense, and if their own defense can't make life miserable for Baker Mayfield, then they have serious, serious problems. It's worth noting the Patriots weren't fully healthy either, missing key receivers and dealing with run game issues. This game is going to be great. I'm going through all the big matchups this week. Lions, Eagles, Bills, Bucks, Broncos, Chiefs, Seahawks, Rams. And all of them really, really matter. They are going to tell us everything we need to know about these teams. I was having a debate with some fans who argued that teams know who they are. I disagree. Teams believe who they are, but it takes time and proven success to truly know. Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes know who they are. But many teams, including the Bills and Buccaneers right now, are still figuring out their identity. The coaching staff is still assessing. What do we have with this current cast of characters? What can we achieve? You can believe what you're capable of, but you have to go out and prove it. That's why a bounce-back performance is so critical. The Bills might believe they can do it, but they have to show it's a reality. That's what it all boils down to. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Buffalo Bills and Josh Allen taking on Baker Mayfield and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? Are you expecting the Bills to have a bounce-back game? How important do you think this game is? Are you guaranteeing a bounce-back like some are trying to? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree, let's get some discussions going. Let's get into some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. Please consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here and would love to have you be a part of it. I want to build something we all feel connected to and are really excited about. I think we're well on our way to doing it. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really helps with visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.